एक ਅਸੀਂ ਨਵੀਂ ਸੀਰੀਜ਼ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਮੌਰੀਨ ਮੈਕਗ੍ਰੈਥ ਨਾਲ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਰਜਿਸਟਰਡ ਨਰਸ ਨੇ, ਤੇ ਨਾਲ CKNW ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਸੰਡੇ ਨਾਈਟ ਸੈਕਸ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਚਲਾਇਆ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਜੋ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ, ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਰਿਸ਼ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਤਰੇੜਾਂ ਪੈ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਘਟ ਸਕਣ, ਤੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅਵੇਅਰਨੈਸ ਹੋਏਗੀ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਹੀ ਫੈਸਲੇ ਲੈ ਸਕਾਂਗੇ। ਇਸੇ ਸੰਬੰਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਹਫ਼ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਮੁੱਖ ਤੌਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਰੇੜਾਂ ਪੈਣ ਦਾ ਮੁੱਖ ਕਾਰਨ ਹੈ ਇਫੈਕਟਿਵ ਕਮਿਊਨੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਨਾ ਹੋਣਾ, ਬਿਹਤਰ ਤਾਲਮੇਲ ਨਾ ਹੋਣਾ। ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਟਰਸਟ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕਿ ਟਰਸਟ ਹੀ ਇੱਕ ਫਾਊਂਡੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਨਾਲ ਕਿ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪਸ ਥਰਾਈਵ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਟਰਸਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਮੀ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਨਾਲ ਕਿ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਸਮਾਜ ਉਹ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਵੈਸਟਰਨ ਕਲਚਰ ਹੋਵੇ ਤੇ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਈਸਟਰਨ ਕਲਚਰ, ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪਸ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਸਟਰੋਂਗ ਤਦ ਹੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਜੇਕਰ ਟਰਸਟ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਕਾਇਮ ਰਹੇ। ਆਓ ਇਸੇ ਸੰਬੰਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਮੌਰੀਨ ਮੈਕਗ੍ਰੈਥ ਨਾਲ। Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So last time we had discussed about effective communication and what are the major reasons for straining of relationships. So let's today focus on trust, because I believe that trust in anything is the foundation for success of that. But right now in relationships, that trust level, with your experience, would like to know that when you deal with the people, what is coming out? Why is that trust level not being developed? Why are men running here and there, even women also running here and there? So is it that it's just because of their sexual life is not being at that level what they want because of the advancement of technology, and as you had mentioned in the previous program that everything is available in our bedrooms now, so probably the expectations have gone up. So what all is happening? Tell us in details about it. How to develop that trust level?
You're quite right that trust is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship, and it's very important that both partners trust each other.
Right.
And often, if there's not any intimate relations happening in the bedroom,
Right.
one of the partners may go outside of the bedroom. They may have an emotional affair, or they may have an outright physical affair.
Right.
The emotional affairs are very dangerous as well, because you're connecting with somebody outside of your primary relationship, and that can further damage your relationship. If there's not enough intimate activity going on in the bedroom, it's a reason that people do stray, and they stray because they're hurt, because we need that physical contact, we need that touch, we need intimacy as human beings, and it's very important. So with the busier that we've become, if a man, for example, feels that his wife is paying too much attention to their children or outside activities, her job or her friends, and not paying enough attention to him, he may stray. By the same reasons, if a man is working too much and traveling too much, and the wife may be suspecting, there's also risk that she may stray as well. And of course that leads to lots of trouble in a relationship, and it's often a deal breaker for many men and or women. They'll say, and I see that in my practice, they'll say, well, he cheated on me and I left.
Right.
So it's not necessarily a reason to end a relationship, but it is definitely a sign that there is trouble within.
And again, with your practice of over 20 years, what do you find, like when you say when one is hurt, then one strays? What's your experience?
Well, biologically, men and women are very different, especially in terms of their sexual drive. And
Right.
men typically have a much higher sex drive than women do. And a lot of women experience hypoactive sexual desire disorder, or low sexual desire, the number one reason being fatigue, but also medications, health conditions, being too busy, feeling not having resolved their challenges in life, or unresolved conflict can also lead to it. Depression and anxiety and all of that. Mental illness can also lead to low sexual desire, and that's why that needs to be addressed. That's a very important subject to bring forward. Men and women both stray, but I think it's more secretive that women stray. They don't feel that they stray as much, or they can't imagine who they're straying with.
Right.
And with men and women in the workplace today, so much more frequently, there's lots more opportunity for men, especially if they're not having intimate relations at home, to meet somebody in the office, or for a woman the same thing, and there's close connections, and we become very close with people that we work with, so the risk is higher. And that's why that trust is so important in a relationship, that you trust that your partner is going to go out to work and come home and be faithful to you, because that's going to make for the healthiest relationship.
Right. You talked about the emotional aspect. Let's delve a little detail into this. That's to, when you talk about emotional in quotes, flirting, if I may use this word. So emotional flirting, is that just happening, or once, what happens basically, like is at home one is feeling neglected? Is that the major reason, or just otherwise also just to spend time or just to, you know, kind of be happy? What is it?
It certainly can be that they're feeling neglected at home, and it also can relate to the low self-esteem issue again.
Right.
And don't underestimate the emotional affair, because that is very dangerous. And in fact, it's more dangerous than the physical affair. The physical affair is about sex, and the emotional affair is about intimacy. So they're bringing their problems to somebody else as opposed to their main partner, to their husband or wife.
Right.
So they're going outside and discussing very personal and intimate subjects and concerns with somebody outside of the relationship who is perhaps trying to save them or help them, and that can be very appealing as
Right.
well. And they can feel much more desired, and it can be actually very flattering for them. So it makes them at higher risk for actually having a physical affair.
Right. And apart from that, physical, you know, attraction and going for sex later on, is it just, you could say, machism, or again, many people just go for this, or they just want to prove that we are better than someone else?
Sometimes it can be related again to self-esteem, but women have sexual desire as well as
Right.
men, and so they're every bit at risk for going outside of the relationship
Right.
as well. But it's really important that somebody feels desired, and of course that's going to change in a long-term relationship.
Right.
The desire at the beginning of a relationship, is not going to be the same sexual desire you would feel 25 or 30 years later, because you know you're used to it, you're accustomed to the person, it's the same thing. And it's okay to look at somebody else and to think, oh, they're attractive, that's fine, as long as you don't act on it.
Right.
But that's a lot of people get bored in a relationship. That's why it's important to stay, you know, to keep the relationship fresh and
Right.
to do things together, because some people unconsciously uncouple, so they find new and different things to do that maybe their partner's not interested in. So that can also cause troubles in the relationship.
Maureen, with your experience of over 20 years counseling with people, what about the association of these things with sin and guilt? Because when we talk about different cultures, different religions, probably in all the cultures and religions, apart from your immediate partner, you know, going out is considered to be sin, or you know, 10 Commandments also we read, or the Sikh scriptures or the Hindu scriptures. It's all you know, embedded over there. What do you say when people come to you if they have strayed? Do they feel that kind of sin and guilt, and what happens?
You know, some people do, and I've spoken to people who had an affair outside of the relationship and then all of a sudden woke up and realized, what am I doing? And people who weren't necessarily connected to a particular religion or faith, and they did feel tremendous guilt and shame, and it actually drove them back to work on the relationship with their wife. I'm thinking
Right.
of a man in particular,
Right.
and it was the guilt and the shame, and he felt like a dishonored man, and he felt that he'd let his family down, especially his sons. And you're demonstrating that behavior to your sons, and
Right.
that's going to carry on in life. What's bred in the bone remains in the flesh. So your
Right.
sons are going to think that behavior is acceptable as well. But he dealt with it, and I'm happy to report on that couple that they're doing very well today.
Wonderful. We'll go for a short break, come back, and I would like to know from you as to the role models in our society today. What impact are they having? Because if we see Hollywood, or you know, they are our role models these days, people who are excelling in some field, some players, or you know, Hollywood stars. So their lives also are strayed, you know, and that, how much influence does that have on a common person? We'll discuss about this after this short break.
All right, thank you.
ਸੋ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਜੋ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋਈ, ਕਿਵੇਂ ਟਰਸਟ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਹੈ, ਕਿਉਂ ਲੋਕ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਇਮੋਸ਼ਨਲੀ ਅਤੇ ਫਿਜ਼ੀਕਲ ਤੌਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਆਕਰਸ਼ਿਤ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਿਆਹ ਦੇ ਬੰਧਨ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ, ਉਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਮੌਰੀਨ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਮਰਦ ਅਤੇ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਦੋਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਪਾਈਆਂ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਸਟਰੇ ਚੀਟਿੰਗ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਜਦੋਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਲੋਕ ਰਿਅਲਾਈਜ਼ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਆਮ ਤੌਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਿਗਲੈਕਟ, ਜਾਂ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਰਡਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਲਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ, ਸੈਕਸ਼ੂਅਲ ਡਰਾਈਵ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਘਟਦੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਆਮ ਤੌਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾਤਰ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਵੇਖਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਮਰਦ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਬਾਹਰ ਜਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਕਿ ਕੀ ਸਿਨ ਅਤੇ ਗਿਲਟ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਨਸੈਪਟ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹਦਾ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਇੰਪੈਕਟ ਪੈਂਦਾ, ਤਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਹਾਂ, ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਲੋਕ ਰਿਅਲਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਜੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀਤਾ ਉਹ ਗਲਤ ਸੀ। ਪਰ ਦੈਨ ਅਗੇਨ ਅੱਜ ਸਮਾਜ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਕੁਝ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਓਪਨਨੈਸ ਜੋ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਇਸ ਦਾ ਜੋ ਇੰਪੈਕਟ ਪੈ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਅਤੇ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰੋਲ ਮਾਡਲਸ ਅਸੀਂ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਓਪਨਲੀ ਇਸ ਕਲਚਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਡਿਪਿਕਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਉਹਦਾ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਇੰਪੈਕਟ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਇਸ ਛੋਟੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ।
ਕਾਰ ਐਕਸੀਡੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੱਗੀਆਂ ਸੱਟਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਤਬਾਹ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀਆਂ। ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਬਗੈਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਵਕੀਲ ਤੋਂ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਖਰਚੇ ਵੀ ਸੰਭਾਲ ਲਓਗੇ, ਸੱਟਾਂ ਦਾ ਇਲਾਜ ਵੀ ਕਰਾ ਲਓਗੇ ਤੇ ICBC ਤੋਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਕ ਦੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਵੀ ਲੈ ਲਓਗੇ। ਮੇਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਸੁਣੋ, ਕਾਰ ਐਕਸੀਡੈਂਟ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਕਈ ਸਵਾਲ ਉੱਠਦੇ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਸਵਾਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਜਵਾਬ ਕੌਣ ਦੇਊਗਾ? ਧਾਮੀ ਨਾਰੰਗ ਐਂਡ ਕੰਪਨੀ। ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਫੋਨ ਕਰੋ 604-864-6131।
Once again, welcome back to the program. Maureen McGrath, who is a registered nurse, ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਟਰਸਟ ਲੈਵਲ ਜੋ ਹੈਗਾ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਸਟਰੈਂਥਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ, ਕੀ ਕਾਰਨ ਨੇ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਕਾਰਨ ਇਹ ਟਰਸਟ ਲੈਵਲ ਘਟਦਾ ਹੈ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਅਤੇ ਵਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਆਓ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਰ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਕੇ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਟਰਸਟ ਲੈਵਲ ਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਸਟਰੈਂਥਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। So before the break, as I asked you that these role models in our society, what we have today, what impact their lives are having on the common people?
They can certainly have a negative impact. And the role of the family, however that is defined, has never been more important than it is today.
Right.
It's very important that children have security and good role models, that they don't desire instant gratification, or they don't have false beliefs. Like Hollywood is very false in every way, from their bodies to their hair to their looks to their lives, and that's not something you want to seek after. It's not realistic. It's a very small percentage of the population, and so it's important to have a safe home where children feel loved and people feel loved, quite honestly, and even husband and wife feel appreciated and loved between each other. So it's very important that we raise our children well and keep them on the straight and narrow.
Right. And when we talk about the trust level, how do you feel that media has played a role in that instant gratification concept? Because in media, the way women sex is glorified and the way they are presented, of course they're not the way they are, but in media they're presented in a different way, and women have then those kind of expectations. And with now internet also easily available, where we are finding pornographic sites, we are finding all kinds of negative things which are happening in the society. So how much impact does that have?
I think it has a lot of impact, and that's why education is so important, to point out, especially to couples who are having trouble along the way, that that's not reality. Those Hollywood sex scenes are not real. They're not having sex in those sex scenes. That women don't look that way, and you know, women age and men age, and our bodies change, and medical conditions occur along the way, and things happen, and our lives are stressed and busy, and so we have to just keep with reality and stick with feeling good about yourself and building self-confidence, and not too much self-esteem that it borders toward narcissism or that you're the only person that matters. You really want to go outside of yourself and help other people. That can certainly ward off depression. So just keeping it real is I think it's important, and pointing out that that is really Hollywood. And it's a movie or it's a show, but it's not about real life, the everyday ups and downs and beauty and troubles of real life.
Right. In your talk show, which you have every Sunday night, what kind of questions come forward when you talk about these topics?
Lots of questions come forward. One is around women. Women will experience painful sex, and that can happen in the perimenopausal years or the postmenopausal years. And the hallmark symptom is vaginal dryness. The hallmark symptom of a condition called vaginal atrophy is vaginal dryness, and that can also lead to low sexual desire. But they don't talk about it with their husbands, and so the husband feels neglected, but it's actually the woman does not want to engage in intimate relations because it's painful for her.
We'll talk about this in details in our coming episodes, but finally, to develop that trust, what would be your advice, final advice, how to keep that trust level at a higher level?
Deal with your problems immediately, you know, spend some time together. Even if you have to schedule time together, that's okay. I mean, even when we were dating, we scheduled the dates, so there's nothing wrong with a married couple.
Well, dating is something different, you know. That's not reality, and when you come to reality, it's different.
Continue to date in your marriage would be a good thing.
Wonderful.
And deal with problems early, and don't be afraid of conflict, and read some self-help books, and of course listen to the CKNW Sunday Night Sex Show for tips on how to have the healthiest relationship possible.
Thank you very much, Maureen. We'll continue with the discussion in our next episode. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you
So
for
ਅੱਜ ਜੋ
having
ਅਸੀਂ
me.
ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਟਰਸਟ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਟਰਸਟ ਫਾਊਂਡੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਜੇਕਰ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਅਤੇ ਵਾਈਫ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਸੁਨਹਿਰਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਸਮਾਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਬਿਤਾਉਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਹੈ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਓਵਰ ਈਅਰਸ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਦਾ ਇੰਪੈਕਟ, ਰੋਲ ਮਾਡਲਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗਲਤ ਬਣਾ ਲਏ, ਅਸੀਂ ਹਟ ਗਏ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬੰਨ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਸੀ। ਅੱਜ ਫੈਂਟਸੀ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਮਜ਼ਬੂਤ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਹਾਲੀਵੁੱਡ ਦੀ ਜਦ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜਾਂ ਬਾਲੀਵੁੱਡ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਕੁਝ ਡਿਪਿਕਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਰੀਅਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਬਨਾਵਟੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਐਕਸਪੈਕਟ ਕਰਨੇ ਕਿ ਉਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਬਨਾਵਟ ਸਾਡੇ ਘਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਆ ਜਾਏ, ਉਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਟੈਨਸ਼ਨਸ ਵਧਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਫਾਈਨਲੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਮੁੱਖ ਤੌਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਰਿਐਲਿਟੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਕੇ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਮਾਂ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ, ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਡੇਟਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਮਾਂ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਵੱਖਰੀ ਹੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਾਇਮ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਉਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੀ ਸਮਾਂ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਮੈਰਿਜ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੇਕਰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਓਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਟ੍ਰੈਸ ਲੈਵਲ ਘਟੇਗਾ, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਸਟਰੋਂਗ ਹੋਣਗੀਆਂ, ਤਾਂ ਟਰਸਟ ਲੈਵਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਹੋਰ ਮਜ਼ਬੂਤ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ।